Hey guys, welcome to Skeleton Guy Stories. Tonight's tale will make you think twice about leaving drinks out overnight. When a simple cup of water sits beside your bed, it might become home to something ancient and hungry. Something with far too many legs that's been searching for the perfect host. So dim the lights, keep your beverages covered, and enjoy the story of why you should never ever leave cups on your nightstand. When I was in 8th grade, something unexplainable happened to my best friend Gerald. Like any other summer night, he came to my house to sleep over. Outside, mosquitoes buzzed, rain drizzled, and frogs croaked. The fragrance of raindrops was among my favorite sensations, so I kept the window open. My room was upstairs, far away from my parents, which meant we could be as noisy as we wanted without disturbing anyone. At around 11 p.m., my older brother Sam agreed to take us to Taco Bell. "Dude, seriously, you're just getting water?" I asked, watching Gerald fill his cup at the fountain. "Come on, dude, you know I'm not allowed to drink soda," Gerald replied, looking concerned. "Your parents aren't here. It's all right," said my brother, putting his hand on Gerald's shoulder. He then motioned to Doctor Pepper on the soda machine. Gerald shook his head and refused. I wish I could go back and force him to pick a soda instead. There's no telling if it would have even made a difference, but these thoughts persist. That was the last time I'd ever go to Taco Bell. I can't bring myself to go back after what happened, having since cut off anything that serves as a reminder of that night. After enjoying our tacos, Sam drove us back home, and we hung out in the living room playing video games for a bit before Sam called it a night, saying he was tired. What that really meant was he was going to his room to call his girlfriend. Naturally, Gerald and I headed up to my room for our usual COD Zombies session. The flickering glow of my ancient television rested on our faces as we plowed through hordes of the undead. Unable to handle only getting to round 10 5 times in a row, we shut off the TV and crawled under our respective covers, me in my bed, Gerald in the sleeping bag on the floor beside me. Of course, we continued to stay up late into the night discussing girls in our class, mostly who had the nicest ass. Typical 8th grade boy stuff. Gerald rattled his near-empty ice water cup in his hand as he spoke. "You can toss your drink over there if you're finished," I said, pointing to the trash can in the corner. "Besides, kinda gross to leave it out all night." "Hey, it's fine," he said, as he sat it down on the nightstand beside him, the plastic lid still firmly in place with the straw poking through. "Fine. I'm just telling you, my mom always gets on to me for leaving cups out." He nodded. Looking back, God, I wish I had said more. If only I had just made him throw away that cup. Not long after, Gerald and I both drifted to sleep mid-conversation. It was 4 a.m. when I woke up to unsettling noises. A horrific hybrid of wheezing and snoring. Its presence sent goosebumps across every inch of my body. Just thinking of it now, my eyes are welling up with tears. "What's wrong?" I called out, still half asleep, jumping out of my bed towards Gerald's sleeping bag. His face was losing color, and he was trying to say something, holding the cup in his now shaking hand. Blue veins bulged across his face like running rivers. Vehemently, he regained his composure and spoke. "Something's in the cup," he said, now sweating immensely. I woke up thirsty, so I grabbed the cup to have a drink. Oh God, it swam into my throat. It had legs. It's moving around in my stomach. I stared in disbelief. That couldn't be right. How would something alive get into his cup like that? It even had the lid still on. It still remains a mystery. Gross as it is, at first, I thought it might have been a cockroach, Now, I really wish that were the case. Something told me he was serious. I'd never seen him this way in our many years of friendship. He looked frozen, like someone who had just been caught doing something wrong, but also terrified beyond anything I'd ever seen. What? How? I stammered, unable to even think straight. I watched on with absolute disgust as I could now see his stomach writhing under the covers. Something was moving under his shirt. Before I could react, he pulled himself out of the sleeping bag and darted towards the window. It was open, of course, but it didn't matter either way. He broke right through the screen and the glass. I still remember the shattering sound, followed by the dull thud when he hit the driveway below. I rushed to the window, calling his name, expecting to see him injured on the concrete, but his body vanished. By the time I made my way to the window, he was long gone. There wasn't even a blood splatter where he should have landed. I screamed for my parents, who came running. They called the police immediately. The local police had a search party looking for weeks, not a trace. They dragged the nearby pond, checked the woods, interviewed everyone in the neighborhood. Nothing. I don't know if that thing caused him to jump, or if he couldn't stand it swimming around in his body. I shudder writing this. Every night I have nightmares, and I fear I'll never stop having them. The recurring ones are the worst, especially the one where I wake up to Gerald standing beside my bed, vomiting out blood and organs. To this day, I boil the water I drink, and I only drink from translucent cups. I doubt it helps, but I'm not taking any chances. The school counselor said I had PTSD. My parents took me to therapy twice a week. Nobody believed me about what Gerald had said about something swimming in his stomach. They all thought he must have been on drugs, or that he'd had some kind of psychotic break. How do you explain to adults that your friend jumped out a window because something crawled inside him from a fast food cup? But 4 months later, they found his remains. This poor group of kids geocaching in the woods about 5 miles from my house found his bones arranged into one enormous pile. Everything else was gone. No flesh, no organs, no clothing. Nothing but bleach-white bones arranged in a perfect cone-shaped pile. They were traumatized. The police were baffled. There was no explanation for how his body ended up there, or how it had been stripped so completely of everything but bone. My nightmares intensified after that. The most recent one involved me watching Gerald spit up his bones one by one, each making a hollow clacking sound as it hit the floor at my feet. Yesterday, I went for a stroll with my dog Bella. I took her to the usual spot in the woods behind our subdivision because I prefer the isolation. Pine cones littered the forest canopy beneath my feet. The air was cool, and Bella was happily sniffing at every tree we passed. Everything was normal until I smelled it, this horrific stench that permeated the forest air around me. It made my eyes water, and I started gagging involuntarily. The odor was like rotting meat mixed with sour milk and something else, something unnatural that I couldn't identify. The sound that came after was awful. It was this wheezing noise. Familiarity set in. I panicked. My heart beat at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Bella sensed something was up too. She started growling, her hackles rising as she stared fixedly at something behind me. Now, the sound came from behind me. I slowly craned my neck to see. I wish I had not done that. Imagine how a person looks when they're missing their bones and all their internal organs. It's not a pleasant sight. A rotten husk of flesh somehow crawling towards me, gasping for air. It was vaguely human-shaped, but collapsed in on itself like a deflated balloon. The skin was grey and mottled, hanging in loose folds. There was a face, or what remained of one, eyes bulging from sunken sockets, lips pulled back from yellowed teeth in a grimace. It moved like a slug, leaving a trail of viscous fluid behind it. The wheezing, the stench. I couldn't stand it as it inched closer and closer to me. It attacked all my senses. My body didn't know how to react. I began to shut down just like that night Gerald disappeared. But Bella's barking snapped me out of it. She lunged forward, teeth bared, but I grabbed her collar just in time. Whatever that thing was, I didn't want her anywhere near it. I didn't stay to discover its intentions. I'm unsure if that was still Gerald, or if it was that creature controlling what remained of him. But either way, I will not be sleeping tonight, not ever. I've decided to relocate. It's unbelievable that I've continued living in this godforsaken town after everything that happened. This evening, I brushed my teeth as usual. As I stared into the mirror, trying to grasp what I had seen today, I reached for the clear cup on my bathroom counter and filled it with water to rinse out my mouth. As I raised the cup to my lips, I saw it. A tiny, dark shape moving in the water. Multiple legs, like a spider, but not quite. It swam frantically, trying to reach the surface, trying to reach my mouth. I dropped the cup in shock. It shattered on the bathroom tile, water splashing across the floor. The thing, whatever it was, wriggled among the shards for a moment before darting across the floor with unnatural speed. Jamming my hand into my mouth, I checked to make sure nothing had gotten in. To my relief, I hadn't taken a sip yet, but the thing was now somewhere in my bathroom, hiding. With seemingly just seconds to react, I tried to weigh my options. My frantic decision led me to lock myself in the bathroom. Every piece of furniture that would fit is now pressed up against the door, the hamper, the small cabinet under the sink. I can't let that thing get out. I can't let it find its way into another cup, another person. I can feel my heart pounding all the way in my stomach. Imagine the sharpest stomach pain you felt, then multiply that by 40. As I writhe on the cold tile floor, the familiar whirring of the garage door briefly shakes the house. I hear the front door pop open. My mom is home. I need to warn her. I need to tell her what's happening. But what if it gets out when I open the door? What if it's already too late for me? I can feel something moving inside me now. Something that wasn't there before. I don't think it was in the water after all. I think it's been in me since that night in the woods. And I think it's almost ready to come out. This is it, guys. Hope you liked the story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a new nightmare. Good luck.